we're all
it's
waiting
still
to hear,
me?
Mark. Did you go to the launch?
Yes.
How awesome was that?
You know, it was really cool. One of my neighbors actually flew me on his little twin-engine Cessna. So it was really cool.
Larry, do you want to? I'm sorry. I guess we should have done the intro first. Maybe that was our intro because that's pretty incredible. If you took a airplane to go see the rocket launch,
I think that's good. It's casual Saturday. We don't need no.
We don't need no sneaking intro.
That's right. Yeah, it's the Mancave Saturday night. What do we
So
all
I think we got to start with Marc Serota getting in a twin-engine Cessna to fly up to Cape Canaveral to watch the SpaceX launch for his Saturday.
Boring.
So before we start, what are you guys drinking? Larry, what are you drinking?
I got a screwdriver.
Is that like a Harvey Wallbanger screwdriver or just
It's
a
a
screwdriver?
screwdriver, vodka, orange juice in the MANOPAUSE ice Scotch glass.
Lovely. And what kind of vodka are you drinking?
Kettle One.
Nice. That's nice. Okay.
Very
I'm
nice.
drinking a Pegasus 2014 Cabernet. I put half the bottle in. Pegasus
It's a
wine.
big glass.
Where can you get
I
Pegasus?
mean,
At Pegasus, are you kidding?
I know. How do you
It's
get
only
there?
all over our site. Pegasus is awesome.
How do you get there?
Huh?
I can't believe the size of that glass.
Isn't it great? This is a two-fister in one glass.
If you thought of the glass being like the regular size, it makes your head look like a little kid's.
Cheers.
That's good.
What are you drinking, David?
This is a brewed in good old Cleveland, Ohio, Great Lakes Brewery, Elliott Ness Amber. Very good.
Lovely. Wow.
Why Elliot Ness? Is that where he's from?
You know, that's a good question. I should know that before I came on the cast, but they have a lot of cool names for their beers. One of them is the Edmund Fitzgerald, so I don't know that they're all happy endings.
Yeah, that's for sure. Although
And Mark, what are you drinking?
Yeah.
I'm
they
just
got a great
drinking a
song
beer
out
right
there.
now.
What kind of beer?
Just a Heineken.
Nice. Cheers,
I gotta say-
everybody.
I gotta
Happy
say,
Saturday.
Mark, you got the coolest background.
Doesn't it feel like this should be Memorial Day weekend, but it's not?
I know.
That's right. That's right. Well, I guess that means we were all doing what we should have been doing on Memorial Day weekend, and that was chilling and being with family and stuff like that. And I know we're talking a little bit about Father's Day and stuff like that, and coming up. And I think it's kind of a cool thing that at least as dads we can kind of share that even virtually or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody still have a dad?
Huh?
Anybody still have a dad alive?
I think Mark was the last one.
Yeah, my dad
Mark,
passed a year ago, January.
Yeah.
And that's when we moved my mom down, and so he had mesothelioma, so we lost him in a tough struggle. But I will say that one quick thing, not to be somber, but the doctor did say one thing: he could have got it in his 50s, his 60s, or his 70s, but he got it in his 80s.
Oh, great!
Beautiful.
And I had my old man for 50, almost 55 years. And that's just made me just a better father all the way around. And so it's a good thing.
Well, cheers to dads.
Yeah.
Cheers to Dad.
Yeah.
Cheers to dads.
Mark, can I ask you, did you have your beard shaved that way to share your stories with the Mennonites, or what are you doing?
Oh, David.
Thank you for sharing that.
I just want to break the ice with that one. I just want to break the ice with that one.
Too bad no one will ever see this. Not even one soul.
I take it as good as I give it out.
That was good.
That's
I don't
great.
know. You like it? I kind of got encouraged by Mike. I like the look of that.
I'm thinking if I'm working security at Cape Canaveral today, I'm like, I got my eye on this guy.
You know what the problem is, Mark? And I have a similar problem. This area right here doesn't have a whole lot of hair. Look at Mike's. It goes all the way up to his lip and probably inside. So, it's we're a little bit sparse down here, and that's what.
Yeah, it tastes good.
Yeah, that Pennsylvania Amish look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get after we're done. I'm gonna go back into my woodshed and make some furniture. How about that?
Exactly.
We think you should shave it all the way down, like so. Those are total mutton chops, right?
Yeah. You hear that? Did you hear that story, guys? Honey, I'm out back making furniture. It'll be like some scene out of that movie Witness back there.
So who doesn't really want to go back to work full time after all this time off?
You know, we haven't discussed this at all, but there are people who are like enrolled in various programs and aren't really caring if they go back right now.
Right.
Yeah, it's
well, how about Twitter? No one's going back, right? Didn't one of the big social media companies just say everybody's going to work from home?
Oh no,
I
don't know if it was them. I did hear that there was it was Facebook or somebody who said nobody ever comes to work again.
Wow, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, Facebook, but they're going to cut everybody's their salaries down if you work.
Are they?
That's what they said. If you don't live around here, we pay you these high salaries because you live in town. But if you're, you have to come into town. So.
I know what they mean. They do. Some companies, if it's in like a high tech area, they'll have like a cost of living allowance. So add to salaries. Like Gannett used to do that for certain markets because you couldn't, you can't pay journalists the same thing in Mansfield, Ohio that you're paying them in Washington D.C. Right? Yeah. But if they're not coming in,
or they give them a company car, which they don't need anymore, and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
We're going to 3 days in the office and 2 days at home. We're going to try that.
I think that's a good idea. I honestly think, and my wife said this because she works for the company that has, thousands of employees worldwide, big engineering firm. She was like, I'd like to go back to meeting with people at least a couple of days a week in person.
Exactly.
Like, really?
Well,
I mean, Larry's lucky he gets, meet patients, see patients, actually go back. I'm sure you're televisiting and doing all different kinds of stuff now, but I mean, I know people would like to get back to interaction.
Well, there's no doubt. And think about this. I mean, Mark and I can tell you that, and you guys know this from being in business, that when we were making pitches to the PGA Tour, we're talking about books or luxury books, and you're trying to get people involved, get them excited about it. Those almost always go better in person. It's hard to pull off that chemistry in a Zoom call.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be done if everybody really wants to do it. But if
not when you're telling stories,
and we went out to meet the Olympic Committee in Colorado Springs, and well worth it. We got huge optimism from them because I think we spent a lot of time with them.
Right.
Yeah, and we got to share stories, and it's also like, oh, let me show you this on my phone. I got this, and even if you're talking about your families, or whatever, or your boat, or your, summer home, or whatever you're there going, hey, and you're having that. And honestly, to sit and listen to that guy. David tell a joke, just pull one out of nowhere. I laugh my ass off one way or the other.
Well, let's hear one then.
I can tell you one that was about our jokes. We were in Florida in a cigar bar. We were actually in Ponte Vedra Beach, right outside the gates of the PGA Tour, at a cigar bar, it was like inappropriate joke hour, and it was getting out of hand. And this woman is sitting 10 feet from us, just drinking, saying nothing. And finally, she comes over to us and she says, I just want you guys to know that you guys are sick. And I loved every word of it.
She was like 40-something, early 50s, all alone, drinking by herself. There was 4 or 5 of us, and we were loud, and we were laughing so hard, belly laughing. And then she just looked at us. You guys are the most disgusting people I've ever been around. And I loved every minute of it and left.
Isn't that great? I love women with wicked sense of humor. Hoda Kotb, who's on, I think she's NBC. She's on Good Morning or to the Today Show, right? And we did something on Dateline one time. And you would think this reporter, she is very professional. I mean, the top in her game, right? And she is cutting the dirtiest jokes and laughing about stuff. And I'm going, are you kidding me? This is totally different. And I loved every minute of it. And she's cracking jokes, and it was so much fun.
She's fantastic. And listen, I know Hoda. I've been out drinking with Hoda. Hoda was a reporter at WWL TV in New Orleans when I was down there. She was an anchor. And they had a media night at a bar called Molly's on the Market. And Thursday nights, people would come and she would come out. She's a lot of fun. And I knew that. Very smart, very beautiful, and super polished. And I'll tell you also, it's fun. Her cohort, Savannah Guthrie, I hung out with her doing a story on her charity match against Roger Federer in tennis. They were doing a charity match, and it was going to be right after the Korean Olympics. So she went to South Korea and hired a Korean tennis coach to kind of work with him while she was there to get ready. He couldn't speak any English, and I went and watched one of their practice sessions. It was amazing.
That's great. That's great. Now, if you hung out with Matt Lauer, you'd probably get laid, right?
By Matt Lauer.
Just listen for the sound of the locking door.
I don't know if we're going to be able to air this now.
Listen,
we can mention people.
We can, but if we go past 30 minutes, I'm just going to warn you guys. David will tell a joke that you cannot air. All right?
Okay.
Cannot.
All right.
And Larry, if you thought that little photo the other day we won't talk about crossed the line a little bit, just get 30 minutes on the dot. I'm telling you.
I think.
When did we call it on tour? Meeks time. It was a Meeks moment. That's going to happen.
Yeah. That's what that's what we used to have in our group vault calls, because we get a couple, like, let's be honest, I mean, true idiots on that call, and it would go on forever, and you could only take so much of it, and just every now and then you'd have to kind of send in the missile to just blow it up. It's pretty sad. You mentioned jokes. I thought of 3 jokes immediately, none of which I can tell, but we could tell in some sort of MANOPAUSE VIP social gathering in a small room somewhere someday.
But we're all friends with the MANOPAUSE community, so you could tell a joke. We'll just bleep out the dirty words if we have to.
Yeah, but I don't know if you could bleep out the dirty premise, the dirty build-up, the dirty middle.
I think our audience would love it.
I would say, Mark, it'd be more the depraved premise that is common to all of them, right?
I think you could tell the
warning on, right?
I think you could tell the 50 cents and probably the Snickers joke. You might be able to tell the Snickers joke.
Yeah, but that according to Larry, our demographic is mostly Southern Baptists. So they won't care about jokes about the Catholics.
All right, go. We can cut this part. Okay, here's the part. If we're cutting, it's because we couldn't say it. And then
there's that quick joke. How do you know when it's bedtime at the rectory? When the big hand's on the little hand.
Oh, ouch. Ooh. Snip on that one.
That's the clean one. That's the good one, guys.
Oh, that's by far the clean one.
That's a good one.
That's
Go
innocent.
ahead, tell another one.
All right, I'll tell this one. Priest is in confession one day, and he's listening to confessions, and it's kind of routine stuff, and he's all of a sudden struck by this incredible urge. He's really got to use the restroom. And this woman's going on and on. He can't wait. So he just sticks his head out there. He can't see anyone around. And all he sees is the janitor, Joe, who's in there kind of cleaning up the place. He goes, Joe, come here. Just hop in here. You don't need to do anything. Just listen to him. And when she gets done, just, give her 10 Hail Marys and tell her to pray, whatever. I'll be right back. So Joe goes, okay. So Joe goes in there and he's listening to this woman, and she gets done, says Hail Marys, and she leaves. But the problem is the priest isn't back yet, and now a beautiful woman steps into the confessional, and she says, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. And Joe's like, oh, tell me more. Tell me what you've done, my child. She says, well, I had a little gathering at my house, and my husband and he had his best friend over, his best friend from college, very, very handsome man. We all got a little drunk, and my husband kind of passed out, and, I don't know how to put this, but I gave my husband's best friend a blowjob. And Joe's like, oh, hold on a second. He does not know what to say to this one. He comes running out. Where's the priest? He's got to handle this one. Where's the priest? Can't find him. Looking around desperately. Can't find him. Finally runs into the main auditorium. No one's there except little Billy, the altar boy, getting ready for the next service. He says, Billy, you got to help me out. What does a father give for a blowjob? And Billy says, well, he usually gives me a Snickers and a Coke, but I don't know what he'll give you.
Oh, that's a bleep bleep.
Oh, goodness. We just lost the Catholic vote.
There goes three of our followers. Okay. That's actually funny. That's
it's a great
sad,
story.
but true. So, Larry, what's on the agenda?
Agenda?
Well, you're the host with the most, right?
Well, like I said, I mean, I think, you know, well, for me, I mean, as much as I love doing what I'm doing, is I really have enjoyed my time off. It was almost like pre-retirement, and so I'm being traumatized having to go back full time.
Yeah.
You know, and I wonder if a lot of people, not again, you know, I'm not saying that people are, oh, well, you know, they don't want to work or anything. It's just that you have time to kind of reassess your life, and you're like, gosh, I really enjoy having time to do other things, like, you know, read fiction or write stuff or go for hikes or just generally chill and not have that constant daily pressure on you that you get from a high pressure kind of job.
I don't think it is about not wanting to work either. I agree with you. I think it's more about looking at where did the premise come that work-life balance begins with 50 to 60 hours devoted to work.
Exactly.
Every week.
Exactly.
That's the point.
Or the time spent getting to work is the other thing that you can get back. I mean, for a lot of people in America now, that's a lot of time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's big. What if you could get 2 hours of your life back every day?
Right.
That's a lot.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's huge.
You know, and it, you know, not to get political or anything. It's just that you think about, you know, not just rich people. You think about people that have everything that they want in terms of, you know, like you can have a guy that is retired, that lives in a trailer and goes fishing 3 times a week, and the rest of the time, you know, drinks with his buddies, right? And he doesn't need anything else, and he's happier than a clam, right? Other people might look at him and say, well, but you know, you're living in a freaking trailer, right? I mean, but it's like, I don't care. This is what I'm happy. Right. You know, my days are happy. And so I think sometimes we aspire maybe for what we think we need and want. And when you actually have some time, you know, like this whole time, I haven't spent much money these last couple of months because I haven't needed anything other than food, right?
Right.
And you think, God, you know, do I really need an expensive car, or do I need to have a huge house or anything like that? Because that's part of the reason I'm working my ass off is to pay for all that crap.
Did you sell your car, by the way?
No, it's still there.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is you enjoy the time to play with yourself.
Correct.
So to speak.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're not playing with anybody else because you know, we're at a.
Well, you used to, but you know, now that we can't be close, so yeah, what are you going to do? But no, I mean, I think that I've talked to some people at work, and they're all kind of the same thing. It's like, I don't want to go back to where I was. I want to work because I love what I do, but I'm not going back to that schedule anymore.
First of all, some of those double wides are really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, they're posh. Alabama, I remember a sign. My favorite thing, here's how you know it's a house you don't want to buy. When the sign outside the dealership says, free stereo with purchase of double wide.
I got a handyman who comes by and does a lot of stuff for my at my house. His name, everybody calls him Wood. Nobody knows what his real name is, but he lives in a double wide on the ocean in Island Murata that he rents for $1,500. It's got a living room, a kitchen, and a bedroom. All right, for $1,500, he rents this on the ocean, and he moved his bed into his living room because there's glass doors. And he sits out, and every morning he's got the most incredible sunrise on the planet. Like, if I got another friend who lives less than a mile from him, owns a big cosmetics company in New York, has a $9 million house on the water, and they have no different view. Right. Okay, wow. They've got plenty. They got a weight room.
Right.
They've got a sauna, outdoor sauna, a big swimming pool. But when they both go paddleboarding, they go in the same water on the same size board, and see the same shit. So it's all relative, you know.
So why can't you make this, I call this show, like, we just need 30 usable minutes, right? 30 good minutes. Maybe you can name the show. Maybe name the show 30 usable minutes. Hopefully we get to the point we have like guys calling in, or 30 good minutes, and say, you know, a subsidiary of the MANOPOD.
Well, you know, and actually in the future, we are going to, I think we need to expand this out.
No doubt.
And invite, you know, some of our followers, either through a contest or something like that.
Right.
To participate.
Are you kidding me? I got editorial
What a great idea.
Two-time Pulitzer Prize winner, and Marc's seen his work. Walt Handel's been a great friend of mine. He's about 60 years old, lives in New Orleans, and he would love to come on, and he would do something just for fun with us.
Yeah.
And you guys,
absolutely.
Hey, let me tell you, he's hilarious. And he's in Louisiana, so you got to remember, he goes after all targets in politics. He loves it. I mean, his favorite, he used to tell me, the greatest thing that ever happened to him was when Ross Perot ran for president, just because of the ears.
Yeah.
Right. You know,
I can't even imagine.
What could spice this up is also having a female. Larry and I did a podcast yesterday with Jennifer Convey, Bert Convey's daughter, right? And Bert Convey.
I remember Bert Convey.
He passed away at 57 years old, but he was a superstar during his reign.
Well, wasn't he like the assistant or the handler of $6 Million Man, or what was he? He was in one of those kind of shows.
That was Richard Anderson. Bert Convey did a lot of game shows and stuff.
Right.
Very handsome guy.
Good looking, funny.
Really permanently permatan like George Hamilton.
Exactly.
Yes. And his daughter was telling us stories about Bert, and his partner in Win, Lose, or Draw was Burt Reynolds. And so those two used to put each other on all the time. And so people that have these great stories of celebrities or athletes or whoever, you know, to come on and tell these great stories, it's so fun for people to listen. Larry and I are shaking our head going, Fred Astaire was hanging out at your house doing Win, Lose, or Draw before they even named the game with Burt Reynolds. I mean, all these stories, like, whoa, our audience would love this, you know. And
plus it's people that our audience identifies with. You're right. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So anyway, we should do that.
Well, and she's also can get as blue as anybody else, apparently. So we would not have any problems with having to tone anything down.
Oh yeah,
that's the kind you got to have. I mean,
hysterical.
Yeah, I got a good friend who works at USA Today. She's perfect for this because she'll be actually the one you'll have to tone down. She's
no, that's great. You know,
what you want.
Men love that.
It's funny. One of the premises of the show that Mike and I wrote for, you know, the MANOPAUSE presentation pilot. It was based on me and Mike and our friend Fritz, and it was you know, exaggerated but based on fact, right? And one of the things is that we had a group of three guys, right? And we thought, hey, you know, we need to expand our group because, you know, we want to hang out with guys, right? And so there were several guys that we sort of auditioned by going out with them and stuff like that. And we were like, nah. So we ended up not getting anybody else in the group.
They couldn't make the cut.
So freaking picky.
Right.
Who was getting in.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, this could almost be like an audition for whether they're going to be a regular or not.
Making the cut.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, making the cut.
Yeah.
So, that's actually a good title.
Yeah.
Mark. Making the cut.
Yeah.
The Mano cut.
Because after we do an interview like this, and then after we talk about it.
Right.
Right. The cut. No.
That's
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Then we can have another version called "We Can't Use This," and everyone will listen to that.
That's great. That's great.
I just heard about manscaping just a few years ago.
You see, and that's the thing. I've been talking to friends of mine, and it's surprising how many men of our generation actually still don't know about it. I've been taking a little informal survey of my friends, and a lot of them are not hip.
I've been doing
it.
I've been doing it for a while, but I was using shaving cream and a razor, and this new stuff is way better.
There is a product out there called Manscaped, right? And I did buy them for our executives, and they all, and I was shocked, they all said they loved it. They all said
now
they loved
what
it.
was the product specifically for? Are we talking?
It's a shaver. It's like an electric razor, but it's electric, but it will not cut your skin. It won't touch your skin, so it'll get very, very, very close.
So it's for any use anywhere on the body.
It came with different attachments too, and a little cute little book about topiary designs. So you could.
The company is called Manscaped, and their lawnmower is the grooming system for those private areas that look like a briar patch.
That's right.
Get yours at manopause.com and get 20% off with MANOPAUSE20. The code is MANOPAUSE20. The whole family will thank us.
The other issue, speaking about Father's Day and stuff, is you've been spending an inordinate amount of time with your son, David, that you didn't have time to spend before. And Mark, same thing with your kid. Yeah. How you feel about that potentially coming to an end?
You know, you're right. It's going to get dialed back, but I don't want to have it dialed back to the previous level. And I think that's what you were kind of referring to earlier. Right. It's been very, very good for him. I think there was an adjustment period because he had like an au pair, and it's different with dad, but he loves it now. And you actually achieve a better rhythm in terms of like how things are going on a daily basis.
Right.
And you get really used to it. And he's, guys are different from, say, his nanny was. So we're out in the woods, we're looking at millipedes, and we saw a snake eating a fish, and all kinds of stuff like that. And he thinks that's like super cool.
Yeah, he will never ever forget this.
Yeah.
This time is so important, and you're going to look back 20 years from now, and you guys are going to sit and having a drink on a porch, going, "Remember when?"
Well, it's true. I'm creating a portfolio of the photos because this is a pandemic. I mean, hopefully this never happens again in our lifetime. Right. But you're right. You're going to look back on it and go, this is time. You either do it this way or you don't. You can't get it back.
Right.
And to have all the photos of all the cool things we did everywhere we take it, it's going to be kind of a neat thing to look at for him. And I think in the end, everything will be fine. It's starting to come around in terms of like being able to let him associate with other kids. So, because you do want to, to answer your question, Larry, you want to spend a lot of time with him, but you also understand there's a point in time where it's not that great for him or you. He needs to be around kids his own age.
Socialization.
Of course. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but still, I mean, like my daughter in DC, she had the opportunity with her youngest, who's 9 months, to be home when the first time she crawled, right? Yeah. And that she would have missed. The babysitter or the daycare would have said, "Oh my God, she crawled today. It's great." And it's like, oh, well, but they're able to witness all that at that age, and I think that's great. I mean, Mark, you have what, 2 kids, right?
Well, also,
I do.
Before he even speaks, you got to understand. Mark's got to describe the Serota compound to you. I mean, it is of all the situations you could be quarantined in the world. That is not a bad one down there. Trust me.
Yeah, I have my son is 15, so he's a lot more closer to like a friend now, to be honest with you. He's becoming a man, and we work out together. We've got a gym right here in the house, but the real but we've always been close, and he's older, and I've been able to take him on the road. Last year, I was saying to David, I'm so glad before we got to the pandemic, I got to take my son on a couple of photo shoots in Atlanta and New Orleans and in Nashville, and then he got to go to a couple of XFL games with me when I was shooting the Tampa Bay Vipers, and so we got to really start to bond to the point where we're really going to gel over the summer now. Yeah. We're going to do a lot of diving and stuff, but where it really has helped is my daughter's just 10, and I never really got to spend that much time being that overbearing dad to a daughter, and you guys with daughters, I mean, you can understand that, it's really the time with her is the most valuable. And that's the stuff. I know my son's going to go out, do his thing and everything. And but there's always that instinct. And my daughter, believe me, is tougher than my son. She is, one, amazingly strong, powerful young lady. But you're daddy's little girl. You're always going to worry about her. So we spend a lot of time in the pool. We're paddleboarding, bicycling, all that kind of stuff has forced us to do what we do over the summer earlier. And it's been fantastic. And I don't want, actually now I don't even want him to go back to school. I like having him home. But like David said, it's really important to, because my wife was like, well, DJ's, they both have straight A's. I said, they need that interaction. They need to be around other kids. They need some conflict. They need some codependency. They need to feel, and they're blossoming with their friends. So I'm torn, but I understand it's what needs to be done. But I wish, especially my daughter, I wish nothing would change right now. We're so close.
That's great.
I'll tell you something else I've realized in this that's interesting, I think, and it's related, but not quite the same, is that women, I've watched my wife, I've talked to other women, really have, not, I want to say better close friends, but they have more easily accessible close friends, quickly hopping on Zoom calls. Men, especially men our age, you start to realize that most other men your age have that whole family unit they're tied to as well. And they're actually more focused on that. And you don't have that many close male friends that you would talk to regularly during a pandemic. Like the number of people that I found myself talking to was really interesting to me to notice that.
Well, that's why Mike and I, wanted to ask you guys, do you know anybody that he and I could be friends with? We're not interested in you guys, but if you have any good friends that we can hijack, that'd be great.
Please, we need friends.
Handelsman sent me one of those little, whatever they're called, the gifts. He sends me this little placard. It says, how long is the social distancing supposed to go on? My wife keeps trying to get back in the house.
Kids, I still remember, because my dad worked, 60 hours a week, same thing. And it was a little different back then. Dads were dads. And,
they weren't around, right?
And, well, they weren't around as much, but I remember everything that he was around for.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Mike said, this period here, your kids in particular are going to remember this forever. And reminisce about it. And it's probably going to have an impact when they have their kids to say, you know what? That was some of the best time of my life, is that horrible pandemic. But I spent so much time with my dad. It was so great.
I don't think there's
their kids
any doubt he's going to be more outdoorsy than he might have been. He probably would have been, but we're growing tomatoes, we're growing red peppers, we're growing cucumbers in the backyard. We're finding ways to eat. I mean, Larry, I didn't even know you had a daughter here, but DC we have a little room here on the roof of our garage. It's out in the sun all the time. We're going to put plants up there, and he's been out on hike after hike. I mean, he'll be that way the rest of his life.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another thing. My wife is found her cooking skills have even blown up even more.
Wow.
And we do each night somebody picks a different book out of some cookbook of 365 days of different meals. And we've discovered things that now have become our favorites. We actually, because I'm Italian, I'm a big time believer in families sit down for dinner, at least when children are still children, whatever that means. And it's hard. It's hard on a non-pandemic situation with all of us to just sit down and have dinner. But we've been doing that nonstop every night. I mean, we went out to dinner the other night for the first time in 8 weeks. We picked up food and brought it home, but it's been great. The whole the culinary thing and then family together around the table, and also game night is every night. I mean, we play almost every night something.
Well, think about it this.
By the way,
what's that?
Is that a fort behind you?
Yeah, that's the clubhouse. That's the clubhouse. The dogs.
So cool.
The dog's got an entrance. The kid's got an entrance. Yeah.
That other room right behind Serota, that's where he goes in at night alone.
Right.
That's his me time.
That's when he's building furniture.
Yeah. Daddy's special research lab.
My daughter has been staying with us for the last week. mishap with my wife, and it was a real big accident. But my daughter's here from LA, and I did not know that she is a gourmet cook. I did not know that until now. And she has been whipping up these meals one is better than the next, which is better than the next. Who knew?
When did that happen?
Huh?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Well, I guess she's been cooking at home for many, many years. But I mean, she's cooked for us on occasion, and it's always been great. But now it's extra special, you know. And she gets in that kitchen, and she cooks, I clean. So she uses every pan that we have in the kitchen. But that's what all great cooks do.
That's a good.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to discover, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But hey guys, I think menopause, if you think about the conversation we're having, there's lots of other men out there
who are
going through all the same things. And it actually, the site, not the site, but the community and the intentions behind the site, how it can work. Mm-hmm. We're going to help a lot of guys. There's a lot of people who will end up, hopefully we get to the point you can have events that men can come to, because I think there's a hunger for it. I really do.
Yeah. Well, and
I'm going to try to put seriously, we always talk about getting together here, but I want to try, we talked about it before, Larry, Mike, all four of us have, about putting something together, maybe in Key West at the end of the year or next year.
Yeah.
We've got
I would definitely do that. I don't care if I get in the car and drive down there, I'll come down there. I would definitely do that.
Yeah. Mike and I'll do a road trip if we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, you know what? I want to tell you, I don't know if you've ever done it, but we did it. Kate got a judicial clerkship in Pasadena when we were living in Philly.
Oh, right.
We loaded up and made the journey to California and made the journey back. And on the journey back, we turned it into like a 2-week vacation through like Yosemite and all these cool places. It was neat. Yeah. It's a cool thing to do, I think.
I've driven back and forth twice. Once only to Memphis, and the other time to Titusville, Florida, which is
wow, that's a long way.
Yeah, and I did it with my college buddy, and we were driving in his little Triumph TR6, and so we drove. And
not even a 7, a 6.
It was old, a fun car. Anyways,
I remember
we went on Route 66, and we were looking for places, and there's this place in Amarillo, Texas. It's a steakhouse, and they advertise that they have this one dinner that it's like an 80-ounce steak that if you can eat it in one sitting in 1 hour with a baked potato, it doesn't cost you anything. So we were college students, and we're like, we are doing that. And so we did the wrong thing. We kind of starved ourselves for a day and a half, just eating little bits and stuff. Of course, your stomach shrinks when you do that. But anyways, we get there and we look at this.
You didn't eat cotton candy.
And it's like, it's like this freaking.
Only a doctor would know that.
And it's like that thick. And it was like, we can't do it. And they have, they have pictures on the walls of people who did it, and they were like these massive truck drivers.
It's also like, if you think about how many years they've been in business, it's not that many people who've done it.
Who can do it. But the thing is if you, like halfway through, if you have to go to the bathroom, they go with you to make sure you're not throwing up.
Or you're not allowed to,
So if you have to go piss or whatever, they'll go in there and they'll just.
So if you barf, that it's over.
It's over. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, funny story is when I was working on my Dan Marino book in '94, when he was breaking all those records, we went to Indianapolis for the game where he threw the 346 touchdown pass, which was a career record at the time. And we went into a steak place there that Shula wanted to go to, and it wasn't Shula's steak place because he had one there also. And like the whole offensive line sat down, and that was the deal at this place. If you ate like this piece of prime rib that was like, the size of a small dog, you didn't have to pay for it. And the whole offensive line did.
Oh my
God. I remember, though, that Marino still paid the entire bill no matter what, because he wasn't going to do that to them. But all those guys went out of there thinking, and he was like, no, pump them up like that. They need it for tomorrow.
That's
We're
great.
playing Peyton Manning tomorrow. They're going to need it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this week's Dan Marino moment.
Wait a minute.
Tune in next week
Sorry.
for another story about another heroic act by the great Dan Marino.
Wait, Mark. Are you saying that? Mark? Are you saying that those guys ate like that the day before a game?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude. After the game, when we would get on the team plane to go home, there at the bottom of the stairs were hot double cheeseburgers. Okay, Klondike bars, like steaks, fillets wrapped in tinfoil. Just and don't understand one thing. They served a meal on the plane. That was the food they ate between the time they were walking up. They sat down, they took off, and then the lobster came.
Oh my
I couldn't believe it.
God.
I'm like grabbing this stuff, and then someone said to me, because I got to travel like 4 or 5 games that year on the team charter. And so I said to someone, I'm like, oh man, I gotta get some food. And they're no, they're gonna serve food on the plane. I'm like, and what's this for? And they're like, oh, the offensive lineman has to eat something up the stairs.
Yeah, well, they're burning 5,000 to 8,000 calories a day minimum with their workouts and game and everything. Yeah. So, yeah, that's why they all get fat when they stop playing.
Yeah, you ever seen the Jim Gaffigan bit on the American Restaurant? He goes, they bring you the menu, and he goes, you open it up, and the appetizers down the side. He goes, what's that? He goes, well, that's the huge amount of food we order before we order our food.
Yeah, what's that name? A place called Claim Jumper. You ever been to Claim Jumper? Yeah. Place, the baked potatoes are so big you got to climb in to eat them. I mean, everything there is huge.
Wow.
I don't
That's great.
I can't.
That's good stuff, man.
Speaking of Dan Marino, hopefully one of these days he'll be joining us too, huh?
I think he will.
I think we can get him to come on. I think right now with what's going on, man, it's like, things are just so, shaken up. It's hard to tell whether or not it'd be easier right now or harder than if we were in the preseason or spring training or something like that.
Well, what we can do, we can send him a few things we've done, and then kind of throw the line out there that we'd love to have you on, and kind of get it like in his mind, and then get him scheduled after that, right?
Yeah. Now that we dropped that article yesterday, I'm just going to send it to him. Yeah. And let him not say anything, let him hit me back, and and then say to him, sort of try to get him to let it be his idea.
Well, the nice thing, what's happening here is that
it'll happen.
We're bringing a lot of really interesting people in. Not you guys, but I mean, we are bringing interesting guys in that have a lot of good connections. Like this guy that is our
fitness
guy. He has a lot of interesting connections. Like he sent the tweet about his article to. Did you ever read the comic strip Dilbert?
Yeah.
Yeah, a guy named Adams, Gary Adams, or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
He's friends with him, so he sent him the article, and he's going to read it. You guys, can send it to Marino and some of these other people. Mike, through some of his friends, has a lot of Hollywood connections, and so I think we're going to be able to bring a lot of interesting people in this age group. That will have a lot in common, even though we come all from different backgrounds. The getting old part is what we have in common.
Right. I think our little we're finishing up a few stories today. Actually, I think our little story on the best old man NFL team,
right,
is a good one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great.
As I wrote it, I'm like, this is really fun because at quarterback, you're like, it's Breeze or Brady, right? So Mark and I are talking about it, and we went with Breeze. By the way, we decided that of the two of them, he's got a little more gas in the tank still than Brady. That's our view. Brady will probably win the Super Bowl now, so be ready.
Yeah, it's possible.
Hope not.
Possible.
Well, how about this, guys? We get to see those two guys play twice a year. We get to see Breeze and Brady square off twice a year, probably only for 2 years, maybe even one. But that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We might get to see them play each other 3 times this year.
Yeah.
In that, and how crazy would that be? Because something you thought you'd never see once.
Right. I think Tampa will be pretty good because I think Bruce Arians is a really, really good coach. And I think that Brady shopped himself around and kind of matched up with the coach he wanted, who would kind of do things the way he wanted. And, they're going to be a competitive team. As you know, in the NFL, there's not a gigantic difference between a 6-10 team and a 10-6 team.
Yeah.
Right.
Breeze signed a 2-year contract.
He signed for 2, and I think he's
only going to play
2 years. I think he'd play 2 years unless they win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
Then I think he'd just
That's
say,
right.
see ya.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Well, yeah. All right. Well, the other thing is, hopefully in the not too distant future, this won't be a Zoom podcast. This will be filmed live either from Florida or San Diego.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
We will bring a camera crew, and when the four of us go out, look out. It's going to be a freaking blast. Like the first time we met you guys, remember at dinner?
Yeah.
I never laughed so hard in my life. We were cracking.
No, we should have filmed that night.
That was great.
Hey, and by the way, we can get something. We can get something to Nats ballpark too. They are the defending champs, and as soon as we get a chance, we can get something down there. So they're happy. I talked to them, and they're like, "Look, let things get going, but we're happy to work with you." They're smart. They want publicity on all sites, and when I told them it's men over 50, you know what they think? That's guys who spend money on sports.
That's right.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
They can't play it, so they watch it.
Right.
Right. All right. That was cool.
All right, guys. This was awesome.
Yeah.
So cheers to you guys. Great to see you. It's another Saturday night in the Man Cave, and good stuff, man.
We're on next Saturday night. I'm ready, baby.
All right.
Gotcha.
For sure, fellas.
All right,
hey,
bye-bye.
Enjoy.